Heavyweight bucks, hench bucks, wedge bucks, yoked out of their goddamn mind bucks, big boy buckaroos, whatever you want to call them. Do not call them the Young Bucks, they're no longer young. That's because in New Japan Pro Wrestling, age is measured in collective LBs, and after 4.5 years with the company, Matt Jackson has finally sculpted enough meat onto his pythons for the Bucks to officially compete as heavyweights. Nick and Matt were likely clamoring to move up after junior tag title win number 3, but it took 7 wins for High Chief Gedo to finally acknowledge that they might have done everything there is to do in that division. New opponents, new tournaments and new championships await the Swole Bucks, but what remains of the division they have decimated? In this second episode of Moves Like Gedo, we'll examine the steps the company's booker ought to take in order to ensure the junior tag teams maintain a relevant position going forward in New Japan Pro Wrestling. There are 2 distinct avenues Gedo can venture down in order to change fans' perspective on the division. One looking outward, the other looking inward. Looking outward, the IWGP Junior Tag Team Championships are really as international as any New Japan title belts. The Young Bucks paraded them around Ring of Honor for years, Sho and Yo returned from abroad to immediately capture the belts, and recent champion Ricochet was the crown jewel of the American Indies, while supposedly in a lowly position in New Japan's hierarchy as Junior Tag Champion. If indeed the belts are not as prestigious as, say, their heavyweight cousins, then involving them more in New Japan's international expansion seems like no bad thing. In other words, they could take an extended absence from New Japan events and no one would really miss them. The belts could move around international territories as a symbol of New Japan's growing influence. Put them on an ROH meme dream team of Flip Gordon and Cheeseburger. Let them tour the British Isles around the waists of Aussie Open or CCK. Or for the love of God, get CMLL involved. Half their roster is under 150 pounds and the junior tag belts are as lucha as New Japan gets. As it stands, Kanemaru and Despy are riding Zukigun's recent surge and thieve the championships in a return to the triple threat format. Regardless of the result, many fans criticised the multi-man match as it harkened back to the days of the belt's true irrelevancy, when the belt seemingly couldn't be showcased without a minimum of 4 teams involved. But really, fans should be far more fearful of recent New Japan booking patterns. Just last year, the IWGP Tag Team Championships fell into a creative black hole where Guerrillas of Destiny, War Machine and KES embodied the entire division. The junior teams can be spared this fate with a consistent injection of outside talent, but it is inward that Gedo should look if he wants to truly improve the division's standing. Earlier this year, Gedo needed to make his next move after Okada retained against Naito in the Tokyo Dome. He thought that it would be best for LIJ to seek vengeance on behalf of their fallen leader, with Sanada stepping up to challenge from his lieutenant spot. Hardly a bold or inventive strategy on Gedo's part, but where this diverges from the normal booking channels is that Sanada had just been crowned one half of the IWGP Tag Team Champions. Most wrestling companies avoid this like the plague. Tag team wrestling is tag team wrestling. If you're in a tag team, let alone a champion tag team, you temporarily abandon your solo identity until you re-emerge as a singles competitor. I'm certain there's many reasons this has persisted, but it feels like a painfully stale booking tactic that is altogether counterintuitive. Surely a professional wrestler would want to claim all the gold they could, especially where the faction system is so heavily entrenched in New Japan. No one is short of allies to challenge with, but we're supposed to believe they'd rather piss about in inconsequential tag matches than collectively seek championship glory? Gedo has a chance to invert this practice with the junior tag team division. Looking up and down the card, you'll see a handful of the greatest sub 200 pounders on the planet clearly twiddling their damn thumbs, waiting for best of the Super Juniors. 3 of the men involved in the Wrestle Kingdom 12 Fatal 4-Way are distracting themselves with pursuits of varied significance. On one side, Ospreay challenged the greatest champion in the world. On the other, Kushida has been kicking it with Liger's old boy crew. In more ways than one, Marty Scurll has found himself squeezed in the middle amidst the current Bullet Club drama. The point is, none of their recent exploits have involved seeking success in the junior division. Hiromu alone has made the logical decision to partner up with Bushi in pursuit of the junior tag titles, but unless he were to actually win them, this will ultimately look like a layover for the early favourite in the 2018 Best of the Super Juniors. Given their incredibly thin junior roster, Gedo really has little excuse to maintain the strict barriers preventing singles and tag team juniors to mix. Hiromu's title shot is a decent first crack in the wall, but they need to persist until it's gone completely. Have Will Ospreay seek to consolidate his junior dominance by becoming a two-way champion. Give the dickhead Suzuki boys the most kosher babyface challenge imaginable in the form of Kushida and Jushin Thunder Liger. Have Marty Scurll drag a reluctant Flip Gordon into his villainous ways as they challenge for the belts. Then, you send it the other way. Give Sho and Yo spots in the best of the Super Juniors to prove that performers in shiny matching gear can stand on their own 2 feet. The junior tag team division is simply too narrow to continue in its current state. Hiromu will drop Bushi at the first sign of a junior heavyweight title shot, meaning at this rate we'll be left with a 2-team division. Roppongi 3K are a strong centerpiece, but they risk becoming rapidly overexposed, given that in under a year they've had 2 title reigns and won the Super Junior Tag Tournament. Isolating tag team wrestling can work in plenty of wrestling companies, but where there is also a heavyweight, junior heavyweight divide, you're not just splitting your roster into 2, but into 4. The junior tag teams are by far the thinnest slice of that pie, which is why all juniors, both New Japan regulars and those who challenge from abroad, should be amalgamated, competing for both singles and tag team glory. Gedo has a mighty challenge ahead of him, and unfortunately, lacing up the boots with Gedo isn't going to cure what ails this division.